Well now, Aquarius, great big welcome to you. This is a tarot reading for the whole of 2022. I've chosen a very special picture on the front. It's a picture of the Kraton in Georgia or Jogjakarta, the most mystical place for us Kajawan believers. So let's hope that it creates a good reading for you, Aquarius. Aquarius, if you're new to my channel, a massive welcome to you. If you're returning, then thank you. And if you're a subscriber, then that's absolutely wonderful. But above all, Aquarius, I hope you enjoy this reading. As a part of my channel, The Magic of Java, I've decided to add a section, Tarot from Java. So welcome to your tarot readings from the mountains in Java. You may well be asking, why from Java? What's important about tarot from Java? And the truth is, there is nothing so important about tarot from Java. Simply that here in Java we have many different spirits who will come to help in your tarot reading. It'll probably put a different reflection on things. For example, the spirits here are less likely to be concerned about love and finances, despite people in Java being every bit as interested in these things as the rest of us. But maybe the spirits are trying to tell us something else. Now I'll be using probably 2 decks, but out of 3 decks. So the first deck is Tarot Nusantara, the second deck is the Steampunk deck, and the third deck is the Light Visions Tarot. Tarot Nusantara is actually a new one to me, which I love. Whereas the Light Visions, I've struggled with as a result of the rendering. Although I think I'll grow into it, I will keep using it and coming back to it. You can see on all of them, I'm using quite a lot of salt, and that's to clear the energy and the spirits from them. Something that I do fairly regularly with my tarot. And I also, you'll see a number of Jimat there that I use just to bring a good energy to the tarot and to my reading. Perhaps the most important mystical object we use in Java is the kris, the curly knife that you can see that I've placed across both decks. Kris are very important for bringing the spirits to work on any object here in Java. I call on the spirits of the mountain to assist me in shuffling the cards, in selecting the right cards and interpret them for Aquarius for the year of 2022. What is this all about, Aquarius? Now you'll hear tarot readers saying that there's no good and bad cards in tarot. And that is true, because every card has good and bad in them. But then by the same token, this Tarot Nusantara, the renderings for what would normally be considered good cards are very good. And the renderings for what would normally be considered bad cards are very bad. And I can't hide it, but the outcome, the Ten of Swords, is one of the worst cards, in my estimation, in the whole of tarot. Having said that, I'm sort of getting the feeling that I shouldn't be too influenced by it. Overall, we have the 8 of Wands, which is about you finding a direction, a unified direction, doing it quite fast paced with it. Now that's interesting, because in the past we have the Knight of Wands, Again, a brave, a fearless, quite a fast-paced knight. Maybe prone to rushing into things, though. Your current energy is the Ten of Cups. Couldn't be better. So we've got a Ten of Cups and a Ten of Swords. So one is absolutely wonderful, every blessing you can imagine, and the other is an abrupt and painful ending. Going to be an interesting year, Aquarius, I can tell you that. Your future energy is the Knight of Cups, Knight of Love. Sometimes when he appears, I think it's about people having an affair. Could be. He's a softie. Everybody loves him. So he is prone to having affairs because of people just can't keep their hands off him. But they know he's just soft for love. He's just a big softie. The energy impacting on the outcome is the Six of Wands, which is you scoring a victory. Now, it's a victory in a battle, not a war, but you do get public recognition for it. I wonder, does that create any jealousy? There's no indication it does. And normally that's not the interpretation, but this outcome's throwing me a bit. How to avoid the outcome or change the outcome? The Ace of Cups. Well, the Ace of Cups is about a new love. I mean, it could be new relationships. Of course, we've got the Knight of Cups there that I said that could be about you fooling around. And the outcome, as I say, it's the Ten of Swords, so it's an abrupt ending. Please forgive me, Aquarius. I'm jumping the gun far too much here, and we need to look at each card. But I wonder if you're tempted by a relationship, by cheating, and perhaps you don't take it. But the relationship, your existing relationship, comes to an abrupt end, and you're kicking yourself. And maybe even that if you had an affair, it could have revived your existing relationship. People often say that. Now, I'm reading far too much into all of this. So let's look at each card individually. The card that dominates the entire reading is the Eight of Wands. That's about you finding a direction, realising what you want and going for it fairly quickly. But it's also about sort of getting your ducks in a row. Everything is moving in a uniform direction. So getting your mind clear on things about what you want, why you want it, and going for it with a pace. If you look at it, well, yeah, the 8 wands are all moving in parallel quite quickly through the air. Looks to be rather a nice scene, rather a nice village there. So I would see this as a very positive card. I really would, and I need to allow it to permeate my interpretation of all of the other cards for you, Aquarius. Now, in your recent past, we have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is brave. The Knight of Wands is fearless. The Knight of Wands is fast-moving. The Knight of Wands rushes into things that he probably shouldn't. You look at the card and he is rushing, he is fearless, but as I say, all too often he gets into situations that he really shouldn't have been in if he'd given a little bit more thought to them. Now, remembering that the Eight of Wands runs through the whole reading, I wonder if you've learnt your lesson from this, and that the Eight of Wands is much more about you giving a little bit more thought to it, aligning everything. Well, that's one interpretation, certainly. But I get the impression that something from 2021, or maybe early 2022, has gone a little bit wrong because you didn't plan quite well enough. Now, I say I think something went wrong in the past, but hey, we've now got one of the loveliest cards in the deck, the Ten of Cups. This is about you having everything you could desire. It's about abundance, but it's not just about abundance of money. It's an abundance of love. It's an abundance of everything. And you look at the card, well, it's just gorgeous, isn't it? They're dressed in their fineries. They love each other so much. They've got their wonderful children there playing. Looks as though they live in a lovely place, a lovely village. They have everything. Count their blessings. Count their blessings. You look at how they're dressed. I mean, not only is it beautiful, but they're complementing each other in how they're dressed. It's just a lovely, lovely card. It really is. So you're certainly going to have your blessings in 2022. So here you are, happy families. And then what happens? Because in the future, we have the Knight of Cups. Now, he's the Knight of Love. And, you know, we've just had a card about happy families and love. Couldn't get better. So maybe I shouldn't misinterpret it. But, you know, he's a softie. He really is. He's a fool for love. And as a result, people fall for him. And he can't help but falling for them as well. Because he's just a softie. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think this is you. At least being tempted by an affair. At least being tempted. I'm not necessarily saying that you have it. You look at the card. I mean, he's got that wonderful white horse. He's sitting high on it with his cup. He's the sort of knight that writes poetry. And you just can't help but love him. Do you know, I used to live in the French Quarter of New Orleans, and I was in Café Del Mar eating beignets, which is their version of donuts. And in walked Alan Toussaint. Now, you may not know who Alan Toussaint is. I suppose he's most famous for having written Lady Marmalade. But he was a very tall man. And he had a white suit and a white fedora on. And I don't suppose anyone else in Café Del Mar knew who he was. But the entire restaurant went quiet at the presence of Alan Toussaint. And I really feel like that's you. You're this knight that people's mouths just open. And you are tempted into other relationships. But I'm not certain that you actually pursue them. And I'm not certain that it actually happens in 2022 Aquarius. Now, the energy impacting on the outcome is you scoring some sort of a victory. And now, this is a small victory. It's not winning a war. It's a small victory, but you get public recognition for it. Now, I just wonder if this is something to do with your happy family relationship and it causes problems. I just wonder if it is. Or maybe you do have an affair and you get away with it. It's possible. It's possible. You look at it, well, they're riding, having scored a victory, on their horses, heads held up high. There's never a suggestion with this card of jealousy, but I always wonder if it creates jealousy. Now, let's go back to the original card, the Eight of Wands, getting your ducks in a row, finding a direction. Is that relevant to this? I can't see how it is at this moment in time. No. Now, Aquarius, I'm most uncertain as to whether you do pursue this relationship, this extramarital affair, if you like. But the offer's definitely there, because now we have the Ace of Cups, which is about new love. It's your cup runneth over. Look at it. The cup is runneth over into that beautiful lake, which is full of water hyacinths. Water hyacinths are absolutely beautiful on a lake, but I have to tell you, they're endemic on all lakes in Indonesia, and they really are quite a problem. They can kill off the fish, and they slowly kill the lake. So they look beautiful, but they're not. Is there a message in that? I don't know. A bluebird over the cup with a coin in its mouth, about to drop it in the cup. The hand holding the cup seems to be being blown by the winds of fate. There's certainly an offer of you cheating on your loved one. I'm not certain that you pursue it, or I'm not certain that it actually happens. But if it does happen, it would change your trajectory. Now, I don't know if that means that you would run off with this other person, or it would save your existing relationship. But what I do know is that if you did it, things would work out differently for you. Now, the outcome, as I say, it's the Ten of Swords. You can't hide it. Look at it. He's got 10 swords in his back. So it's a sudden and abrupt ending. It's a sudden and abrupt ending. Is this an ending to your relationship, to your family? I think it might be. As I say, I don't know if you do pursue this extramarital, or this affair, should we call it. I don't know if you do pursue it or not. If you do, then you get found out, and that's what causes the end of the relationship. But I've also got this sneaking feeling that you don't pursue it, and your relationship comes to an end anyway. Maybe it's something to do with this victory. I've got a feeling it's something to do with that. But, you scored a little victory. You won a battle and you lost the war. And you're kicking yourself that you didn't pursue this affair. That's much more what it feels like to me. Yeah, it feels much more like that. But, we come back to the theme that runs through it, which is the Eight of Wands, getting your ducks in a row. I'm not too certain that the end of this relationship, despite it having seemed wonderful, is such a bad thing. I think we need some clarity, Aquarius. And the clarity I seek is on the Ten of Swords. And the first card of clarity is the Orchard card, which is unique to this deck. And it means anything you want to make of it. But I interpret that quite literally, that it means life is what you want to make of it. We then have the World card. That's the end of a cycle. So if we are talking about the end of a relationship, then it was intended. We then have the High Priestess card, which is all about your intuition. That's very interesting. This ending does not feel that bad. It feels like it's something that had to happen. Now that's the feeling I got initially from it, wasn't it? Let's look at each of these individually. And yeah, the first card of clarity is this Orchard card, which I say is unique to this deck. And the guidance is that it's whatever you want it to be. But I interpret it much more as life is what you want to make of it. So if we apply it to this Ten of Swords, which is an abrupt ending, it is a betrayal, but applying the Orchard card to it is saying to me that this was destined to happen. Now, I know it will be painful because, you had those happy families in the past, everything seemed right. But no, this was meant to be. This was a lesson in life for you. And it was meant to happen. And the thing to do is to get over this as quickly as possible. Because of, as I say, it's something that was meant to happen. And rather confirming my interpretation of the Orchard is the World card. It is about change. It is about closing off of one thing and the opening of another. So, when we've got the Ten of Swords stabbed in the back by 10 swords, all you can do is change and move on. And the World card is saying, well, yeah, that's what it's about. It's about change. It's natural. And however painful it might feel at the time, it's for the better. The World card normally signifies, not only does it signify new beginnings, but it normally signifies good luck as well. And if we think of the the Eight of Wands that runs through the entire reading, then what this is saying to me is that, well, it was for the best, because now you understand things much better. So however painful this ending is, it is what's intended. And you look at the card, there's the lion and the phoenix and a yin and yang. It's getting your life back into balance, Aquarius. It's getting your life back into balance. And we finally have the High Priestess. Now this is the divine feminine, but it's very much about your intuition. Very much about sacred knowledge, subconscious mind. And I think what it's telling us is, despite seemingly you having a perfect relationship, everything in your garden was rosy. It wasn't. Was that because you rushed into things in the past? Did you rush into this relationship? And yeah, of course, you're the Knight of Cups. So you love for the sake of love, and you papered over the cracks. But this is you about learning to trust your intuition. That, yeah, there are hidden things that you're beginning to learn about. You're beginning to learn, you're beginning to gain this wisdom. You're beginning to gain this wisdom. And gosh, it's a hard lesson you're going to have to learn in 2022, but it's a very important one. And once you've learnt this, remember, we have the Eight of Wands, so it gives you a direction, it gives you a purpose. You begin to understand the world anew, but it is a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson, 2022, I'm sorry to say it, Aquarius, but I would also say it's all for the best. It really is. Well, I think we can summarise now. Aquarius, 2022 is going to be an interesting year, to say the least. It really is. There's going to be some upsets, there's no hiding it. But you're going to emerge from this much clearer on what you want out of life. Trusting your subconscious much, much more. What I think has happened is in the past you rushed into a relationship. And you did so because you're a romantic fool. You wear your heart on your sleeve, you love for the sake of love, and you rush into situations without really giving them enough thought. And to a certain degree, you're the sort of person that just attracts everybody because you are just, you're this lovable fool, Aquarius, and you attract people. So anyway, it begins with you in a relationship and things couldn't seem better. And that's because you fooled yourself that things couldn't seem better. It's the real happy families sort of thing, but you don't see the cracks. And certainly there is another relationship, an affair if you like, on offer. I'm not too certain that you actually take up that offer, but you're the sort of person that gets those offers all the time. But I think you resist it. But you probably end up kicking yourself for having resisted it, because your relationship comes to an abrupt ending, an abrupt and painful ending for you. But what I want to reassure, and I think it comes to an abrupt ending because I think there was some sort of an argument that you had scored a victory over. And what you didn't realise that was by scoring the victory in this argument, you lost the relationship. It may be that you did pursue an affair and you got found out, but I've just got the feeling that you probably didn't. I've got the feeling that you probably didn't. But yeah, it all comes crashing down. And it's for the best. It's for the best. The universe wants you to know that this was not a relationship made in heaven. And as a result of the ending of this relationship, life starts afresh. You pick yourself up, you get back on your white horse with your cup in your hand and you go out looking for love again. Because that's what you're like, Aquarius. But Aquarius, you're a bit wiser. You know what you want, a bit clearer. You've got your ducks in your row and you're going at it with a degree of pace. And you know to trust your subconscious from now on. So do take heed of that. Do take heed. As I say, it's a tumultuous 2022. But everything works out for the best. It really does. But I know it will be painful at times, Aquarius. But it is all in your best interest. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed Tarot from Java as an addition to my channel, The Magic of Java. Please take a look at the other videos that I have on this channel about magic from Java, and I hope that you will become a subscriber. Now, if you want to hear your next tarot reading, hit the button, and that will inform you of when I publish new readings. I'm certainly going to do a reading for every month, but maybe I will try them a bit more frequently, say a mid-month reading, and maybe also some special readings. But above all, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you, and Enjoy Java.